Welcome to Mr. Chalk's Revision Tips. In this video we will look at properties of metals and some of the uses of metals. Metals form giant structures in which electrons in the outer shells of the metal are free to move about. So in metals, the electrons leave the outer shells of metal atoms, forming positive metal ions surrounded by a sea of delocalized electrons. Metals are solid at room temperature, so the structure of a metal solid consists of closely packed metal ions. These ions are arranged in a regular way to form a metallic lattice structure. So the lattice has layers of metal ions. So glass can be coloured by using tiny pieces or particles of gold metal. So to describe the structure of this metal, some of the things that you would need to include is that there are a regular lattice structure of positive ions surrounded by delocalized or free electrons. So explain why metals such as nickel and palladium are good conductors. It would be something like the metals of atoms form positive ions because they lose electrons from their outer shell. So these electrons have become delocalized, so can carry the electron through the metal. Most of the elements in the periodic table are metals. Properties of metals can be explained in various ways. So when a metal melts or boils, this is a physical change of state, so the energy is transferred to the substance. This energy needed to overcome all of the bonds and such forth in it is very high, so therefore metals, or most metals, will have a relatively high boiling and melting point. As metals are giant lattice structures, the number of electrostatic forces to be broken is extremely large, and so metals have a high melting and boiling point. This means that the melting and boiling point of the metals is more similar to those for ionic compounds than for covalent structures. So the structure of metals consists of metal ions. These layers can slide over each other when a force is applied. This means that the layers can be hammered into a flat shape or pulled into wires. This means that a metal is malleable and ductile. Substances conduct electricity because they contain charged particles that are able to move. So when a voltage is applied to the metal, the delocalized electrons travel through the lattice structure. The movement of these charged particles carries the electrical current. So if we have a look at just these four last questions, so why are metals good for cooking pots? Why is copper good for electrical wiring? Why is iron used for girders? And why are transition metals found or added compounds in glazes for pottery? So we use them for cooking pots because they're good conductors of heat. We use them in wires because they're good conductors of electricity. They're made for iron girders in buildings because metals are strong. And they're used to make glazes because they make or form coloured compounds.
Thanks for watching.